Owen and Richard, you notice that both Cowan and Byrne look like they've been in a fight. They both look pretty beat up when you see them again. Do you comment on this, or?
Yes, I, being the young doctor I am, will immediately look at them both, sweating and looking like maybe some bruising around the face, and I just go over and say, Mr. Byrne, what's wrong? What's happened to you? You look like someone's punched you in the face.
I just hold up a hand. I just give you a look, as if we don't need to talk about this.
I look disapprovingly to Byrne, and I just sort of look to Owen for guidance on what to do in this situation.
I look at the two of them and their quickly purpling and yellowing bruises that are on their faces and the way they are bent slightly, clearly bearing some injuries to the chests. I shake my head. I don't know what the two of you have been up to. Well, I can guess. But I think we got a few more important things to worry about.
I would agree with Father Owen, yes. So, well, and then I kind of lose a bit of confidence because, again, I don't have anything that new to add, so I just sort of fall silent and fidget a little with my shirt.
We're fine, we are. We visited the Bluebell yesterday, and we found out that Dean, you know Dean, Laurie's brother, he's been acting a bit strange. Also coming back recently, I think. Someone I would like to, us to check in with.
Laurie's brother, you say? I mean, well, the other day, Laurie, she knows who the photograph belongs to and who took it, but she wouldn't tell me anything. She refused to, very angrily, but she clearly knows. I thought it might be a boy of hers, but maybe it's her brother. Maybe her brother's the one who, well, left it there. I sound very uncertain as I say that last part.
I nod slowly at you, and I look over to the rest of you.
Look, there are only so many pairs of those boots in town. I checked my brother's last night. I didn't find anything. And when we talked to him at the pub, everything seemed in order. Carolyn's acting weird, but I think Elgin's clean on this one.
Right. Well, then I guess it's Dean, then. We need to find him and we need to speak to him, I think, as soon as possible.
We need to be, at least a little cautious. I know, obviously, everyone's very emotional right now because there's some very strange things going on. I thought on it and I prayed on it, and my biggest concern is that outside of the four of us, there aren't many people that, in Halkyn that have been away, and I'm worried that there's more than a handful of people in town that know what's going on and want to keep it quiet.
Well, why would they want to do that, Father? That doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, that's... I don't know. But you've all noticed the strange things going on, and the fact that there's this many strange things going on, and the people seem to know about bits and pieces of it, but the fact that the town wasn't in uproar when we arrived just smells wrong to me. It's like the thing with the blackout curtains still being up in so many houses and the... Anyway, let's just be careful who we speak to about what we know. And in terms of confronting Dean about this, I would suggest... Well, I think that's more... I don't think it would go well for all four of us to just crowd him. We know that he's a little on edge after his time at the front. So maybe a doctor's call could be a good idea, just to check up on him, see what you could find.
I begin to look a little nervous as once again Owen gives me some responsibility and a task to do. I feel guilty because I failed him last time. I kind of meekly say, "Oh, Father, I don't know. I don't know if I'm very good at the whole grilling someone. I failed miserably with Laura the other day. I don't know if... Maybe Mr. Byrne could come with me, just in case.
I first look at you a bit skeptically, as I think to myself that Owen is the one capable of getting people to talk. I nod slowly at this. I could keep you company. Not the whole day, mind you. I have a visitor coming later.
Well, no, of course. I simply want to... Let's just talk to Dean, and if he's our man, then you'll know, and then we can move from there. And if he's not, then we can move on from that as well, I suppose.
And who does? Excuse my memory. In the last few years, obviously, I don't know who's bunking with who. Do we know who Dean lives with now?
So, Owen, you know that Dean used to live at home with his parents. Two people that have never really been a part of the community, which is quite odd because most people, they've either lived there for generations and know everyone, or they move there and they become an active part of the community. But Mr. and Mrs. Perry Lewis are not. They are keeping mostly to themselves in the outskirts of town. Not known as the friendliest people on this planet. No one really knows that much about them, but that's the last time you had a checkup on who's living with who in the town. That's where you know that Dean is.
So what I'm thinking is, if the two young men go and speak to Dean, and if they, speak to him about any job opportunities, what he's thinking of doing now that he's back home, that kind of thing. And Byrne and I will watch the perimeter, as they say, just in case there's anything unusual. We also don't know if his parents are still around, and if so, we may need to speak to them while you're getting talkative with their son. I just think it would be useful to know where everyone is on the battlefield, as it were. So let's head out to the house. If from memory they live on the outskirts of town, but let's head in that direction.
All right then. Well, if that's what you think we should do, then I suppose me and Karen can give it a go.
You go a little ahead, and we will come after and keep our distance until you need us. You give us a holler. All right?
Yes, very well.
I turn to Owen and I say, we could also visit the police station. There's a list there of all the returning soldiers. If it's of value to us to have that list of names, I don't see any reason to involve John more in this. He's got enough with his children being away. And do I know if there are any other police officers in town? Or is it just John?
There are a few younger ones you're not that familiar with. But yeah, there's two more.
And we can perhaps have a chat with the other police officers, see what they've found out.
I think that's a bloody good idea, Ben. As we're watching our two comrades walk ahead, I put my hand on his shoulder. I just want to check and tell me if I'm overstepping. Are you, quite alright? You look a bit shifty and distracted. Well, and the bruises on your face don't exactly help.
I shift my legs and I avoid your gaze, looking off in the distance or down at my feet, kind of switching between those two. Irmais, he's coming back to stay in the house.
Well, that's good news, isn't it? Get to see her again.
Didn't like that husband of hers.
Oh, he isn't coming then, I'm guessing.
That's the idea. I don't know if I should be worried of him causing any trouble for her on the way. Oh, she was going to call me later on, but she wouldn't be here in a bit.
Listen, Bern, you know how it is with... Well, you know very well how it is with marriages. Sometimes they have their peaks and valleys, and maybe Irma's just going through a valley right now.
Maybe. But I'd rather see her, have her close. That's all.
Well, there's nothing quite like family when you're in some distress, so... no, I think that's a very good idea, and good on you for opening up your home to her like that. And yes, well, I look forward to seeing her again. I've not seen her in many years.
And Esther, how is she? I haven't seen her either in a few years. She wasn't at the gathering.
No, well, I mean, she was at the pub.
Was she? I didn't see her.
No, well, she was sat in the corner, I sent her to find a table, and I think she got a bit turned around, but she had a good time. She's been a bit out of sorts since I got back, and apparently for a little while before then. But I'm sure she'll feel better soon once she gets back into the routine of having me around. I dare say me being at home would set anyone off kilter.
Yes, I would go mad. I've spent enough time by your side. Maybe she has too. No, I'm just joking with you.
Well, you joke now. You were always my favourite when we were singing hymns back, I guess, between the wars. You never gave yourself enough credit for that baritone of yours. Should have joined the choir.
Imagine that. Me in the back. I think I might hit some new bass notes now. Well, no, I'm only saying. It's good to see you again. And, yes.
Listen, once Irma's here, why don't we all four of us, we'll get together and we'll have a lovely meal together. We'll meet up for supper or something.
There'll be 6 of us. The little ones are coming with her. You don't know about them either, do you?
No. Well, that's joyous news. You get that from me.
Well, I know you like the children, and they'll like you. All children like you, Owen.
Well, I'm sure they like you as well. You may be a bit gruff, sometimes a bit rough around the edges, but you're the granddad. You're there to spoil them, buy them presents, and generally roll around with them a bit. And I'm sure you'll have no problem doing that. They'll probably run circles around you, but well, that's fantastic, and I bet Esther will be pleased as well. We always wanted kids. And that just never was on the cards for us. So it always makes us smile, makes our cheeks go all rosy when we get to spend some time with children. So yeah, bring the whole family around. We'd love to have them.
You see a bit of merriment, kind of sombering up a bit, and I just say that Karen boy. What do you think of him?
Oh, I look over in his direction as he's walking on ahead.
Tell me the honest truth now.
Well, he seems like an honest lad that's been given a bit of bad luck. It wasn't his choice that he went down the mines, and in any other part of Wales that would be seen as a noble and honest profession. How the miners are. They're lords of the underworld. They hold as much status as ministers and aristocrats and all that, so in any time that wasn't war, he'd be seen as a hero, and he'd have girls queuing up around the block, I imagine, to take him out. But last few years, being what they were, it's his brother that gets the shine, and he gets the, I guess, less the dirt. But, I don't know. Everything I'm getting from him is he's a bit nervous, he's a bit shy, he feels a bit put upon, but I don't blame him for that, and he doesn't seem in any way dishonest or malevolent. He could probably do with attending church a bit more, but I'm sure all of us could.
As we're walking towards the police station, I touch my face and I just say, he almost knocked me clean out. He's got a really strong arms on that one. I'll give him that.
Well, when you're feeling like it, you can tell me the story of why you were fighting, but I'm not going to press that point.
So, the two of you, Richard and Cowan, you arrive at the outskirts of town. It's a small house, nothing to brag about really, small even for Halkyn. And you can't say that you've ever been in that specific area before, because there's nothing to come for, really. There's nothing around other than this house in a remote area. And that's all you see. There's a small house, there is a little bit of smoke coming from the chimney, so there's definitely someone home.
Do I believe that it's possible that Laurie would be living here at this moment in time as well?
Yes, you know just from general knowledge that she lives there at the weekends, but she mostly lives at the pub, and has a room at the pub, because it's just easier for her when she has to get up very early in the morning and work very long hours, to sleep at the pub and not have to go home.
I let out a long sigh as I just look sideways to Karen and say, well, I really hope Laurie's not there, because if she is, she probably won't let us in the house, and it'll get really awkward very quickly, so... Alright, I'll do the talking, I guess. I kind of, again, give you a bit of a look, seeing the bruising around your eye, and say, I have to say, looking like you've been punched in the face isn't the most welcoming sight to people when you knock on their door.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong there.
Alright then, alright. And I try and steel myself. This is different, this is Dean. I can talk to Dean. I'm not going to suddenly make him panic. Although if I do make him panic, what will he do? What sort of man is Dean now? What sort of man would be in a children's bedroom and leave the things? And I feel like I'm going a bit crazy that I seem to be the only one assuming this sort of thing, because, to my mind, if a man is in a kid's bedroom and he leaves evidence and the children are no longer there, then surely he has done something with the children. But again, maybe I'm jumping to a conclusion. So I will just straighten up, look at Karen, look to the door, and knock gently.
You knock, and it doesn't take long for the door to slightly open, just a tiny bit. You can just see the slither of the inside of the house, and an elderly man, not very tall, and it kind of looks like he's a little bent over. He looks old to be the father of someone Dean's age. He looks up at you. What do you want? What do you want?
Oh, I'm so sorry to bother you, sir. I'm Walt, Richard Walt? You know, Dr. Walt?
I don't know who you are.
Oh, well, that's fair enough. I'm a doctor.
We're not sick here. We're not sick here.
Well, I'm glad that you're not, but I happen to know, don't suppose Dean still lives here anymore? No?
You can see when you mention Dean's name that something is happening inside this old man's mind. His eyes goes from being aggressive and accusing to shifty, a little bit nervous. I don't know what Dean is.
Oh, but does he still live here? Again, I'm a friend of his. We just came back from the war. And I just wanted to check in on him. We both did. We both knew him in the war. I kind of give Karen a bit of a look.
So I need you to make a roll. So you're basically trying to deceive this old man.
Yes, correct. I roll 78 over 5.
The old man looks at you and he does not believe you, even in the slightest. Dean doesn't know you. Dean, I've never seen you around here before. What do you want? Why is everyone asking about Dean? He's fine. He's just sick. That's all.
Sick? Well, hang on a minute. You just said you didn't need a doctor, and I am a doctor. So therefore, Dean does need to see me then.
He's just tired after the wall. That's all. Just tired.
I need to talk to him, please. What's the harm? Look at me. Not like I'm going to come in and attack you.
No, you're not coming in.
Could I attempt... I don't have the social skills for it. Could I attempt an intelligence roll to make something about, like, the lingering effects of shell shock? Just, maybe we could lie about, the government wanting to check in on veterans, something like that?
Yeah, you could use an intelligence roll on that. That's okay.
So as I see my friend here starting to struggle a bit, I'll speak up and say, no, I understand he's just tired, but I've learned from my brother too that sometimes things from the war they can follow you home a little longer, and you seem okay, but then after a week or two they start to crop up. It's nothing serious, but that's what we're trying to check in on here is all. It's he's tired now, but it could get worse, and that's what we're trying to get ahead of.
Yes, lupus can be very serious.
Lupus?
Lupus?
He doesn't have lupus.
Are you a trained physician?
No, I'm not, but I know my son, and he's fine. He's just tired, that's all. He's tired after the war.
I begin clenching my fist a little because I am getting angry. I'm getting annoyed that people keep stopping us trying to help them and getting in our way. And I kind of just look to Karen, and again, while I am not remotely physically intimidating, Karen is a little. I kind of just step behind him and I say, well, I guess then we'll just have to go and talk to Mr. Byrne and John and get the police down here then, which is going to be really annoying and inconvenient, isn't it?
So, what do you have in intimidation?
I have 15%. I am not very intimidating at all, but I'm kind of stepping behind Karen and kind of trying to give him a look, saying, please help.
I'll lean into this. I'll say, I'll actually gesture up at my face and say, yeah, I ended up on the wrong side of Byrne this morning. I don't think anyone wants him around right now, but if it had to be done, then it has to be done, right? Like, the safety of the village is important, and of course the health of all of its members, and I'd hate to have to go to the constable and say that someone was getting in the way of that.
No, it's true. Byrne's really taking the missing children, and I look at this man very seriously.
Okay. What do you have in intimidation, Cowan?
My intimidate is 15. I have rolled a 16, so I will spend luck to put that 15 on the nose.
Okay. Because you're helping each other, I'm gonna let this pass. You don't have to use one. He starts looking a bit less like an aggressive animal, and he looks at you, Cowan, and all the bruises you have on your face. Did Byrne do that to you?
Oh, I mean, yes, but it was we were having a sparring match, just two gentlemen working out some stress.
But don't call the police here. Come inside then.
Oh, all right, again, we don't want to. I just want to talk to Dean. That's all I want.
It's just a real quick checkup. Nothing serious.
He opens the door. Karen, we have visitors.
I slowly enter. As soon as I do, being quite anxious, I start looking around. What sort of home are we entering?
It's pretty quaint. There's nothing unusual about it. There's a few photographs of Dean on the wall, looking like a normal, smiling boy throughout his teenage years, and as a small child, there's a photograph of him in his uniform. There is photographs of Laurie as well. Looks like a pretty normal family. A little while after, an elderly lady joins you. She seems a little more welcoming, but very nervous. I didn't... Oh no, I didn't expect that we would have visitors.
Oh, don't worry, we won't be too long. Again, we're literally just here to see Dean and just check on him, make sure he's alright,
Oh, Dean is not here.
Oh.
I'm so sorry if you came in vain. No, he's not. He's at the hospital. He's not been right after the war. He's at the... Don't give them too much information, Karen. You don't know who they are. Oh, I've seen the boys. I've seen these two before. They're nice boys. And there's nothing wrong in telling people what kind of struggles Dean has. He's at the Delby Psychopathic Hospital, on the hill. Both of you know Delby Psychopathic Hospital, and you know that it is relatively new, and it's Richard, that it's very progressive in its way of treatment, and your father always hated it because their methods are questionable, he thinks. But it's a big psychiatric hospital that just now after the war specializes in shell shock. And that's what you know about it.
I look a little confused for a moment before remarking, "Oh, I see. Well, we're very sorry to have bothered you here. How long has Dean been admitted?"
Oh, it's been a couple of weeks now. Things started going downhill for Dean after he came home. Such a shame.
Well, that's neither here nor there. I apologize for disturbing the pair of you. Again, we were really looking to speak to him, but I guess he's not here then. We'll be going. I kind of give Karen a bit of a look as I begin making to leave.
If you boys are here about the missing children, it's not my Dean that did it. I just know that. He wouldn't. He could never do that. Dean always wanted children, and he was always such a kind boy. He's just struggling at the moment, and please don't think anything ill of him. He's struggling enough as it is.
Mentally, I'm thinking to myself that doesn't matter, because he might have an extremely good alibi. If he is currently incarcerated in a medical facility, how could he be in someone's house yesterday morning? Yet, I do find myself thinking something. I reach into my pocket and take out the photo. I don't look at the man, but I do look at the old woman, as I say. I don't suppose you recognize this photo?
She halts for a second. Well, that's Laurie, my daughter.
Any idea who would have taken this?
Oh, I don't know. Where did you find this?
Oh, it was somewhere, around the pub, on the homecoming night, actually. Strange, somewhere outside. Maybe someone dropped it. Again, I'm not very good at lying, so I don't know if this old lady will be able to tell. I
don't know. Maybe Laurie is seeing a boy. That would not be unlike Laurie. Maybe she gave a photograph to someone. I do not know.
Of course. I say you don't know who Laurie's seeing at the moment, do you, if anyone?
No, Laurie never tells her mother about those things. And to be quite frank, I'm not interested.
Really?
Yes, really. Laurie is a woman now, and she is allowed to see who she wants to see, and her mother does not necessarily want to know who that is.
Again, for a moment, I feel like I should say more, and then I feel I'm being rude, and I'm not really here to pry into their family life. So I just nod. Of course, yes, certainly. Well, all right then. Thank you. We'll be... Again, sorry to bother you. Sir, madam. I again attempt to leave.
Yes, again, just apologies for the confusion.
Yeah, leave. Go away. The father stands up and kind of almost pushes you out the door.
I let out a little sigh, take a few steps away from the house, and look to Karen. Well, I suppose I should at least pay the hospital a visit. I'm sure if I speak to father, he can get me a reason to go, but... Well, I mean, if he's in that hospital, how could he have been kidnapping children yesterday?
I mean, I don't know. Do they... I gotta say, I'm not entirely familiar with the enterprise of the... And he just, gestures in a circling motion towards his head. Do they let you out of those places is it... It's not like a prison, right?
Well, no, but I mean, suffice to say, if you had a broken leg, would I let you go for a jog in the countryside?
All right, well, that's fair.
And Richard, you know that psychiatric hospitals do not let their patients out at all.
So yes, I just give you a nod and say, no, exactly, no, he would not be allowed to go for a stroll, especially if he was considered dangerous, or if he was in a condition where they were worried about his own safety. No, he will have been there. But, I thought we had a lead here.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We can verify, and if he's there, maybe he's been released and his family doesn't know. We can answer one question at a time and then go back to speculation.
So, Bern and Owen, you are heading towards the police station of Halkyn. And it looks just like it did before the war, just like many of the buildings here in Halkyn. A drab, rectangular building with little attention to aesthetic. As most of the police force is out searching for the children right now, the station is only manned by a very tired-looking secretary who looks up at you as you enter. She recognizes you, Bern. Mr. Thompson, what a pleasure to see you again.
And do I know her name?
Yes, you know her name. Sylvia.
Sylvia. Good morning.
Well, good morning to you. You've looked better.
Well, you have seen me in many shapes.
I sure have. What brings you around here, and Father Owen?
Well, we had a run-in with John yesterday, and he asked me to not put the badge on, really, but help out with a few errands and look up a few things. So we would just decided to drop by and see how the search has gone on this end. Have you heard any news?
No news. No, unfortunately. It's such a disaster, really, all of it.
I'm sorry, Sylvia, wasn't it? I don't think we've had the pleasure before. You obviously recognised me from probably about town. My name's Owen. I used to be the vicar around these parts. So one thing we're trying to ascertain, Sylvia, is how long has this all been going on? These disappearances, these odd occurrences.
Oh, well, let's see. She opens up a file. Let's see, Callum. He disappeared about 4 weeks ago. And now this. I was... Well, everything started when Callum disappeared. Can't say that things were much different before that. It's Halkyn. Nothing happens here. As you know, that's it.
And and to excuse if this is a peculiar question, have you noticed any kind of lights from the mountains?
Lights? Oh, well, now that you mention it, there has been a few almost glimpse of blue lights, but I thought it was just, airplanes or you never know what's in the sky nowadays, huh?
As they are talking, I'm looking around the place. I see that some things remain the same, probably, and some things have changed, particularly.
Nope, everything looks pretty much the same.
And it feels strange to be here. It feels strange not to be a part of it, and it's strange to see the new names that I don't even know. And then I kind of snap back to it as they describe these lights on the mountains. What's this light on the mountains?
Oh yeah, it's odd, but I haven't given it much thought.
Oh, I turn to Byrne. This is something Esther was telling me about last night. I just wondered if there was any kind of connection. And I'm interested, even more interested, the fact that you've seen it as well, Sylvia. Have there been a few people about town talking about these lights?
Oh, it's been mentioned in passing. Nothing we've really discussed in depth. I think most people believe that, it's just been whatever's flying around the heavens at the moment. We're all a little paranoid still about aeroplanes.
Blue lights? What could make a blue light?
Yep, I do not know.
I look around sort of the notice boards and the post, and then I say, do you have a list of the returning soldiers? There is a few of them that we were asked to talk to from John.
Oh, yeah, it's right there. She points at the board, and there is a list where you can see there is very few names, because it's not that many young men that has had the correct age and that's been drafted to the war. But you recognize almost all of the names. You see Dean's name as well.
Dean. And I take out a brand new notebook. Not having done this in a time, I stopped by the shop to pick one up, and I start writing down the names for myself.
Sylvia, while Byrne's busy, when did these lights start up? Was this about a month ago as well?
That's a good question. Yes, well, no. I would say around 2 weeks ago, probably.
And I suppose, and sorry to keep troubling you, I'm sure you're very busy. I'm not a police officer. I don't know how police go about their business. I served, of course, in the army, and so I have some knowledge of, I guess, these kinds of things. I just wondered, do you know if any of the officers have explored that area? Have they, in the search for these missing children, have they been looking out as far as the mountains?
Oh, how in the world would that have a connection?
Well, because it's, if they can't find them in town, why not look outside of town? And if there's peculiar lights in the mountains, maybe there's some kind of activity out there.
Oh, well.
I'm just, I'm not being all strange. I'm not trying to add 2 and 2 together and making 5 or nothing like that. I'm just asking, have the police been out that far?
I don't believe so, no. It's a very dangerous area. We try to keep everyone safe. And quite frankly, Father, I think it's a little outreached to believe that that light has something to do with the missing children of this town.
Certainly. How about the strange sightings? We were at the house of Anna Bevan yesterday, and we found rats with 3 eyes and
I'm
other
sorry?
strange deformations.
You said rats with 3 eyes.
Yes.
And that sounds ridiculous.
It does. Has anyone else reported such ridiculousness the last few weeks?
Well, there has been talk in the town about a increased number of rats, but no one has described them having mutations.
And how long has this been going on with the increased number of rodents?
Oh, well, around 4 weeks, I believe. Around the same time that Callum disappeared, actually.
Well, I'm not sure about the connection you're trying to find here, Owen, but how far away are the mountains, anyway?
Oh, it's half a day's travel on foot. And very dangerous. I wouldn't recommend that you make that travel. That's just much too dangerous, especially for a man your age, Father.
No, I'm... Don't be mistaken into thinking that just because I'm on the wrong side of 40, I can't walk and hike and climb like a man half my age. Don't forget I've been out fighting in a war, even if I didn't often have to pick up a gun. Still had to do an awful lot of marching and walking and running.
I go over and kind of clap you on the back, and I say, "Aye, Owen here, he was over at the front, now this one as well."
Well, if it helps, I can tell you that I'm not a police officer either, but I hear things being the secretary in this establishment.
I bet you do.
What I can tell you is we have a young man, and we don't have a lot of crime here in Halkyn. I'm sure, Bern, that you are well aware. We do have a young man, Dean, who, as soon as he came home from the war, he's done a bit of thieving. He stole... Let me see. She pulls out Dean's criminal record. Looks through it. See, around the time that Callum disappeared, he stole some rope from the local store.
I freeze up a bit. Where is he now? Where is Dean?
I believe... Well, the rumor says that he's at the psychopathic hospital of Delbys.
Listen here. This is very important. I don't know if you can come in contact with John or the other officers, but we found traces of rope in the room of his disappeared children, on the window ledge, and then traces of military boots inside. It's highly likely that Dean is associated with the abduction of the children. I would need you to get this out as soon as possible, and we will need to check up on him and any possible people that he has associated with.
Of course. Well, why don't you... Do you have the pieces of rope with you, perchance? Because my thinking is perhaps you could leave it here and I could check with the owner of the shop and see if it's the same.
And I look down into my jacket pocket and I reach in and I pull out the bits of string that Karin collected that I had taken on my person, and I hand it over.
She puts it in a napkin. Great. Well, I will let you know as soon as I know more about this, if it's a match. That's the word you use, right? Well, this is exciting. And terrible, but also exciting.
It's John's children we're talking about. But get that out as soon as possible, and thank you for keeping us posted, Sylvia. Now, we have some friends to catch up with.
It's been a lovely meeting you, Sylvia, and I'm sure we'll get to see each other again at some point. Thank you very much for all of your help.
Thank you, and all the luck to the two of you. And after finding out a little more information about this Dean, both from his parents but also from the police station, it's pretty clear what the group has to do now. The next thing they need to do is to meet up and talk to this Dean.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Role Playing, where we play the campaign The Whispers of the Mountains for Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. The Whispers of the Mountains was written by Clara Herbal, who was also our keeper. We were joined by Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music is from the Cthulhu, Nyarlathotep, Jog-Sothoth, Shub-Niggurath and Asathoth compilations by our friends at Cryochamber and the Paleo Wolf album Genesis. Check them all out at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more music for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Ludwig Manford, Bob Lange, Julián, and Cameron for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of the Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening. And remember, that is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange eons, even death may die.